I've been thinking about this for a while, and you may have heard me say this during one of my live streams. I think we're thinking about this all wrong. We're thinking about a 3D problem in a 2D space. We think the show is about Harry Seldon and humanity versus Cleon and his genetic dynasty. But I think the show is secretly about Demerzel versus Kalle. I think this is a continuation of those robot wars. I think the robots are still beefing. Robots were built with 3 rules: not to injure human beings directly or indirectly through inaction, allow them come to harm. They must also follow all the orders of humans as long as it doesn't come in conflict with the first law. And the final law was that they must ensure their own safety. And as they grew in number, they started to find it difficult to tell what would and would not harm humans. One of them suggested a new programming, a zero flaw, that would prioritize humanity as a whole over the fate of any one human. Some of them accepted this, but a lot of them did not. They fought over this. Now, let's think about this. We've seen back in season 1 and in season 2 that Demerzel does not have anything preventing her from harming humans. She can do it. So guess what side she was on? In fact, she confirms she was the general. She was the ones that the humans feared the most. She was the one that Cleon kept as a trophy. And she's the one that I think Kalle is trying to outwit. Not with me yet? Remember how back in season 2 it opened with Harry in a seemingly torturous state for 138 years? He was mad that Raish put Gale in the pod instead of going in the pod himself and leaving her to lead the first Foundation. We also saw that there was another being in the same place with Harry, but this being didn't bother interacting with Harry for those 138 years. It was as if it was doing it on purpose to break Harry, and then at the end, fill him with glorious purpose, instructing him to meet her on Unis World. Kalle told Harry to go there. And remember how in episode 2 we see Harry kind of glitch out for a brief moment, and he even says he remembers meeting Salvor in the vault, but then he says that wasn't him. That's the other him. How could this Harry have memories of Harry Black in the vault? My theory is that Kalle is the reason. I think Kalle is secretly pulling the strings. I also suspect that Kalle interacted with Raish at some point and persuaded him to jettison Gale in the escape tube rather than let her stay to lead the Foundation. Now, I don't have any evidence of this yet, but it is my suspicion. The escape pod decision was giving narrative sabotage with a side of long game. Anyway, once Harry followed through on his instruction to go to Unis World, Kalle was seemingly able to take the digital mind of Harry and transfer that consciousness into a copy of his human body. Once he got a human body, he was vulnerable to Tellum Bond and the Mentalics, but was able to work with Gale to create a second Foundation. I can't help but feel like my guy Harry is a sleeper agent, or at the very least, he's compromised. What if we're thinking about this 3D problem in a 2D space? I think Kalle has a bone to pick with Demerzel. I don't know if it's as straightforward as Kalle just being on the opposing side of the machine war, but I suspect it's something to do with a shared past between them. Demerzel is, what, 18,000 years old? How old is Kalle? Do they go back? Are they old Spades friends? Are they chess partners like Professor X and Magneto? We then switch to Brother Day and Brother Dusk hosting a dinner, and it's growing ever noticeable that we have not yet seen Brother Day. I'm used to Dawn and Dusk being a duo, but this is different for us to not even be in on it. They're hosting the dinner where even the guests finally speak up about the missing Brother Day, with Demerzel quickly making an excuse for his absence.